One word, can you describe your IB journeys?
Intense. Ultra marathon.
Oh,
Gives them these different thinking pathways that I think are really going to hold them in good stead.
They do not come empty-handed to a discussion. Logic has not left their body, which is really great.
Is this at school or is this around the family dinner table when they're asking for later curfew?
Family that I would love to meet the 16 or 17-year-old who listens to his parents.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Sparkl podcast. I'm Caroline, your host, and I'm a parent to an IB student in her final year of school. A little over a year ago, my husband and I moved our family from London, England to New Delhi in search of a better quality of life, one that embraced other cultures, food and lifestyle, and certainly reminded us of how privileged we are. LB, my then 16-year-old, had just finished her GCSEs in London, and we were faced with a dilemma whether she should study A-levels or the IB Diploma. As we found out, we were moving to another country only 5 weeks before the move date. We felt the best course was the International Baccalaureate program, recognised globally. So we've hit the ground running and we haven't looked back since, and the kids are really thriving. But today I'm really excited because we're diving into a question that so many parents wrestle with. Why choose the IB? And just as importantly, what is the reality compared to the expectations? So I've invited two amazing ladies, good friends of mine, my guests today, both parents who've lived through the IB roller coaster. Upasana holds a degree in art history and a diploma in advertising management. In addition, she had training in printmaking, sculpture and Photoshop at Princeton University. Upasana is also a parent of two. Her older child is a college senior in the States and her younger will be completing the IB Diploma in 2026. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Our second guest today is Kirsty. Kirsty is a fantastic photographer whose work has featured from the pages of National Geographic to billboards in Hong Kong. A mum to two teenage girls, she now resides in New Delhi and is passionate about uplifting the female voice in photography and finding the sparkle in our everyday lives through creativity. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. So what we all share in common is having a child in the IB system or had children through the IB system, which means we bring a wealth of experience and insight to the table. We're going to get honest about the highs and lows and what we wish we knew before our kids started the IB. So if you're a parent curious about the program or already deep into it, this episode is for you. All right, let's jump in. So a quick icebreaker. In one word, can you describe your IB journey so far? Kirsty, shall we start with you?
Intense.
Intense, it definitely is.
Yeah, I have two words. Ultra marathon.
Oh, yeah. For all of us.
For
All of us, including the kids. So let's talk about why did you choose IB for your children or with your children, shall we say?
For me, it was very clear. It's a research-based curriculum. I've gone through CBSE myself. My husband's gone through A-level.
Yep.
We were bringing up our kids with the sole focus of being curious towards knowledge, towards research. And they both fit that really well. So in order for them to thrive as individuals, and as parents, you have the minimum expectation of what kind of individuals you want them to be in the world that they have to face. IB made sense to us. And it's not been a wrong decision so far.
Yeah.
It's been okay.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah. And what about you, Kirsty?
I think for me, I was bringing up my kids in an international environment and something that sort of embraced a wider curriculum and didn't narrow them down, particularly at this age as they're going into university, was something that I always wanted to be part of their learning process. Like Upasana said, it's like keeping them curious and sort of feeding into a lifelong learning process. Yeah. I felt that it was a really robust curriculum that would set them up for being citizens of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And an ever-changing world as well. I think something that jumped out, not not just because we were traveling to another country, another continent, and what would be globally recognized, where A-levels and the Cambridge system is quite narrowed and focused. If your child doesn't necessarily know what they want to do, because not all kids do that, I think actually the IB works in that sense, and it suits, because you can make your mind up along the way.
Right.
You're not restricted to 3 subjects, it's 6.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is the holistic side of it. So, also getting involved with the CAST projects. We'll delve into this later, but there's so many acronyms as well involved with IB. That's just an education in itself, especially for parents. Yeah. But yeah, I think ultimately we're in agreement. It's been the best decision for our children mutually.
No, that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's an ever-changing world. I think that's the thing. We don't know how the job landscape will look in the next 10 to 20 years, let alone 2 years. So as it's evolving, it's probably the skills that children need to cope in an environment where it's not written in a textbook, how to work in a team, how to work by themselves, how to manage practically, I think.
Also changes because of social media and the fact that we are all networked. Change has now become seamless. If another country would go through a massive change, it may have not affected someone somewhere else. But I feel like change is coming to all of us, coming together in order to function. I'm not sure if they were in a different program. I mean, of course they are not, right? So I'm only talking as an IB parent, but I feel it serves them better.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
It serves them better. So
yeah, but I think that's it, isn't it? It's having them have the tools that when you push them out the nest, or hopefully they fly. But it's how they cope. And actually, my eldest daughter did A-levels in London. And although that was right for her, I wonder how much more would have opened up and how more confident she may have been in if she had taken the IB. Because it's less narrow a path as well. Definitely. And
I feel that the critical thinking skills that are developed through the parts that are not the actual 6 subjects. It feels difficult for kids of that age to grasp the concept of how that's going to be useful tools, like you said, for the rest of their life.
Okay.
it's difficult for them as well. They're questioning it all the time.
But gives them these different thinking pathways that I think are really going to hold them in good stead as we go into this completely ever-changing world. It leads them to think outside of subject areas in cross-subject ways. I think that like ties different things together is amazing for them, and it feels like a very small part of the curriculum, but it's so important. I think.
And actually, it's a huge part in the. As a parent, I mean, I wanted to cry when I first saw some of the TOK questions. That's the theory of knowledge. They really do make you think and open up the box. And actually, they're not hard questions to answer. It just encourages your child to think more openly.
Question things, to question what we're being told by figures of authority, to question what we're being told by industry and everything, and how we live and how that is applicable.
Well, so important in this current landscape.
She said, and who was it? Was it Einstein who said, never stop questioning? That is it. That is it. Never stop questioning. A child is born with a curious mind, and how fast will the world kill it?
We
come out to push the curious mind as much as we can as parents. So that, they learn to question. I mean, decently, obviously, but no aggression. They learn to question. They learn to think for themselves. They learn to explore, right? So I think IB really gave them that.
That's really interesting, your perspectives on it as well. Very similar, but there are so many different levels, isn't there? Like layers to the IB. That's fantastic. Thank you. I mean, let's think of from your child's perspective. I mean, because obviously we're coming from a parent's perspective, but they're important. They're part of making this choice. So let's talk about maybe the daily workload of assignments. So you've got the IAs, you've got the CAS, you've got EE, you've got TOP. There's so many acronyms, and the balance between academics, social life. How has your children found this?
I think it's been hard, but I would say the starting of IB year 12 was a little easier in the sense that um, there weren't so many imposing deadlines. But I feel like one thing that IB or the IB teachers could work more on was teaching the skill of time management to children. Because at 16 and 17, it's impossible. And I would love to meet the 16 or 17-year-old who listens to his parent. There's all of that. But met one.
Yeah.
So we depend on teachers, right? They're there for 8 to 10 hours. We depend on their support. We depend on whatever support. And IB is really run through support. It is that kind of a system. So I think time management has been an issue. And that's the hard issue in year 13. I mean, in grade 12, where you have deadlines. And you have to match the deadlines.
And they all come at once. They all seem to come at once. Yeah. So prioritizing
and
time management.
That's been a little hard. But they've also bonded well with each other because they're all suffering together.
Yeah. Yeah. True. That. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
say out, right?
Yeah.
So that's been great.
Yeah.
But I think like time management is something which is not really taught as such in IB. It's meant to be a learning on the side from the IB curriculum, but
That's a really interesting topic, though, time management, because actually it should be taught. Because what happens, even if you're not on the IB, your child hopefully goes to university if that's their path. How do they manage time when mum and dad aren't there? Or mum and mum, dad and dad. You know, that's difficult. And actually, why shouldn't they learn at this age?
And it hasn't changed. You see, my kids are 4 years apart. It hasn't changed. I said the same thing 4 years back that they could have taught someone. I'm not referring to the school. IB can just teach you time management a little bit.
Yeah.
Which
So
was not there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And for you, Kirsty, so I mean, has anything surprised them, positives or negatives, that they've got out of it?
I would say for me, it is that broader learning that I feel has been like super enriching to them. I've got two very, very different children. And to me, going through it the second time has almost been like, I thought I knew what to expect. But it's like a whole new experience with a different child, different approaches. And my two kids have done 4 of the exact same subjects. So I was still a little complacent in thinking that I knew I was in shit a second time around. And different kids with different approaches, and particularly the time management thing, different personalities and how they handle that. And that's why guidance on how you're going to approach all of those deadlines is so kind of critical, because some perform well under pressure and some kids really don't. And this is, again, it's something that's going to set them up for the future. So university deadlines, for work deadlines and all that kind of thing. And how they learn to manage all of that alongside this rigorous curriculum is something that is very important.
Yeah. My daughter, I can't say she's enjoying it until I guess she'll look back and realize how amazing the opportunity has been for her. I think what has materialized for us is to see how empowered she feels that she can actually do this. She can do 6 subjects. She's flying, I think the negatives is getting feedback that is not necessarily uplifting. They're quite real with it and honest, but then you're sort of left to pick up the pieces and pull that negativity out and try and be proactive. So the time management thing is one. But also, if there is pressure, there's constant pressure, there's the assessments, there's the deadlines, there's, especially if you're doing a subject like art or something practical, you do have to manage them. And I think, at the end of it, she'll come out feeling like, well, I can do this. I'm ready for university.
I think it takes some time to realize the benefit. I think going to university and meeting other kids who've done different curriculums and realizing how well this has set them up for that.
I think,
they can't see that when they're in the thick of it.
No, absolutely not.
Thick of it, it's overbearing for them sometimes.
So like I said, that's the unity in stress.
So it would have caught us if we would have shot this podcast like last year, and this time we'd have a different outlook. But absolutely, us right when the deadlines and the predictors are coming out. So it's It's brutal.
Yeah.
Time waves are really in the takeover of it right now. This semester is
Yeah, because the predicted grades are
Yeah.
coming out
Yeah.
for university
Yeah, that's right.
applications, and then applications are being made for UCAS and America.
That's
The
right.
SATs they've just had.
Have to be given in and all that. So the drafts, the final submissions to some of the EEs have to be given in. The extended essays have to be given in. So yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish, the time management. I'm not saying for my kid. I have noticed this across kids.
Yeah.
And I really
But this is a great tip for anybody considering the IB with their child, that actually, maybe look into how you can help, because actually a lot of our stresses come from the fact that we don't necessarily have the tools or the understanding of what they're studying to be able to help
Correct.
or
Correct.
help them achieve their goals. So if you can think of any areas, where is your child thriving with the IB? What has made them glow up, so to speak, in an academic sense? Is there, or yes, any,
Curiosity.
Curiosity.
The ability to question just exactly what I thought it would give them.
Yeah.
That has
Tick.
that is tick. And also I feel like logic has not left their body, which is really great.
Yeah.
So if they are on the table discussing, evaluating an option to a problem, it's well done. They've done their research. They do not come empty-handed to a discussion.
Yeah.
And how brilliant is that?
Yeah.
I know they're overburdened and all, but
Yeah.
you're coming into a discussion with data.
Yeah.
Coming into a discussion.
Is this at school, or is this around the family dinner table when they're asking for later curfew?
Family dinner table. So we get that. You will see them at this age. So I get them on here. But whatever, like I feel while we are traveling or we're discussing anything about academics or about college decisions, anything, there is like they do the work when they need to prove a point, right? So
Yeah, the curfew exception.
that stems from questioning something and the ability to answer not with aggression, but with research. I like that.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
really
is that is the thriving part. Time management. But I will not go on camera and talk.
I keep dropping that one, the T-bomb.
Yeah. So, prioritizing could have been a little better.
Yeah.
But I feel it's a learning curve.
Yeah, and the curiosity wins overall.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
a big
think so
one.
for me.
I think so. I think the fact that there's a coursework element, which means that they are encouraged to find where their deeper interest is within each subject, is a really good thing for, like you say, continuing that curiosity, for developing the depth and seeing them maybe shine in things that they didn't want to. Like, for example, I was throwing it out to my kid, you would have dropped maths because if you didn't have to do it, because why would you do maths? And she said, actually, I'm really surprised she's doing it at SL, so it's not super, super challenging, but like it's clicking with her.
Yeah.
And that's actually, that's a great.
Yeah, amazing.
I was being so dismissive of it.
Yeah, and perhaps leaving it at GCSE level, they'd never have gone back to it, and then you'll open up another avenue.
I mean, for my kid, for my younger one, I always thought the IB was a perfect curriculum because she's quite a generalist. She's a good all-rounder.
Yeah.
As a kid, my older one, because she's autistic, I actually thought that A levels would have been better.
Oh, right.
Because she would have been able to be more focused. But she wanted to stay at the school and the curriculum at the school. And, this is something else that we weigh up when we're choosing these things. Like, is it better to keep them in an environment that they enjoy?
Yes.
Even if you don't think the curriculum is quite right. Now, she thrived and she did well and she's now at university. So actually maybe her intuition was better than mine, or that I'm going to do well in an environment that I'm comfortable. Honestly, if I could have picked a curriculum though for her, as her parent, I probably would have said she was better suited to A levels. But it turns out IB was great for her anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So whereas the younger one, she's more of a generalist, like reasonably okay at most subjects, and she's picked the ones that she enjoys at a higher level. And I think everything plays in together. So while she's enjoying our higher level subjects the most, she is the support of those other ones into making her more well-rounded is actually playing into that whole learning, curiosity, development of thinking, all of that kind of thing. So
Yeah. And actually, I think yeah, you're both really on the same page as me on that. I think most IB parents would agree that continuing a level of English, maths, and a language is in a lower level, if they're not doing this at high level, is actually really, really, really
Yeah,
good.
that's a prerequisite of IB, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to.
Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah.
So
And then to do the subject
phased out. And then also in the first year of college, as a freshman, if you have that grounding, it makes things a lot easier. Even if you're not going to do anything to do with math, but you have the grounding, so it puts you at edge, above edge to certain things where you may have been struggling if you would have dropped out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Okay, so let's just go back to the buzzword of today, time management, and both how students should practice it. But I guess the importance of outside help, outside learning. Have you guys considered or employed online tutors or outside tutors to help your children where they've needed it? Where teachers can't because of their time management, I guess, or their lack of time, because it's an incredibly intense course. If you're starting to fall behind in something, the child loses confidence. I know myself that we've struggled to find decent tutors, especially in maths, for my daughter.
So for my older one, her IB was like with a lot of children during that time was traumatic because it was COVID. School was shut down, the classes were online. So yeah, I mean, at that point we reached out for some outside support in maths,
Yeah.
which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And similarly for my younger one who's now in year 13.
Yeah.
Last year we had reached out for support also in math. But like early this year he just dropped all support. He says it's like another angle to time management to have to put in a tuition in between. So I'd rather just do this myself. But
Right.
of course,
But he's got to a level.
correct.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that otherwise there'd be no choice but to look at, because it is intense.
Yeah.
And if you can get the right help, a lot of times there are people or services in there which might not be the right help.
Yeah.
It might take away from the teaching in the classroom, and you may end up having a confused child instead of a supported child.
Well, this you've just touched on the subject that we've struggled with, finding a really good online tutor. If they're not there in person, how can they see what they're doing on the paper? How can they help correct? And also with their teaching style. So we employed someone for 6 weeks through the summer holidays, both for my son in year 9 and my daughter. And I think all of that happened was they were confused more. And I put my hand in my pocket and lost a bit of money. So, finding the right online tutoring platforms really, really important. Yeah. And Kirsty, with that for...
I think I agree. I mean, we've used it for both kids for languages, because as an international family who has moved around quite a bit, the languages that the kids have studied haven't always fallen in with what the schools had, right? So both of my kids have struggled with that, and we've had to reach out for extra support for them. And it can be a real struggle. I think with the language, the good thing is that there's a specific set of vocabulary, and you can, and it becomes a bit of a repetition thing, and so you can easily build that up, which is good. It also gives a slightly different perspective, perhaps, from what the teacher has, or you could reach out to people who are native speakers of that language. So in my experience, that was actually quite positive, to the point that both kids then didn't need the extra support, and like one of them continued speaking with my cousin who was a speaker of that language, which was hugely beneficial, because we as parents, we can't always manage everything. We don't always have, definitely not math. We don't have that resources. We maybe haven't studied those subjects to that level. So knowing that there are other things that we can bring in, and you say, the teachers are so time pressured, trying to help our kids through this curriculum anyway. Um,
It's also, I guess, not one size fits all, which you tend to get
It
at
never
school. They've got to get
Yeah.
through a curriculum, they've got to get through a syllabus, they've
Yeah.
got to tick that off, then they've got to do the assessment and then move on. So if, like, my daughter she was struggling and then felt that she was doing fine until she got the assessments back, and then suddenly it's like, find a tutor that really works with her,
yeah,
and for her.
yeah,
And seeing her strengths and weaknesses and being able to have that, like you say, time management.
Yeah.
It is about time management,
Yeah.
but if you can do it,
Yeah.
I guess, and get it out the way before the end, and then this is definitely something we
The teacher is
recommend.
answerable for 10 to 12 kids in the class for each. It's impossible for them to sort of custom make anything for one kid.
Yeah.
So that was one reason is if the child struggles to have an extra support, and if you can get the extra support, the right support,
Yes.
then
Yeah.
this would be a program where they would need extra support and it can be used,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But like Kirsty said, then hopefully at a certain level, they reach at a certain level where they just tell you, see, this is the other thing about an IB kid, where they can just turn around and tell you that I don't need this anymore. I'm doing this. I can't imagine this happening in another curriculum
Yeah.
because the fear of exams are so thick.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. In IB, there's no fear of exams. There's just perennial fear about everything. So there's no fear, one single fear.
doing is that they small continuous assessment because their tolerance is so high. They walk into the exam knowing that they've potentially already got a certain percentage of marks in the bank. Right?
Yeah.
That's right. They've already submitted a report that's of a certain standard. So that takes a little pressure off that exam situation.
Yeah.
Right. Which it's a good way. Yeah.
A good thing.
Because it plays to different kids' strengths. Some kids are better at submitted work. Other kids thrive under exam conditions.
Right.
So if you've got a curriculum that combines both, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. There's a
You know,
balance.
the whole TOKE CAS thing is just from, there's no exams. It's just other assessments, right? And then in each of the subjects, there's stuff that you've already done before you walk into that exam. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing as well about the curriculum.
Yeah. It's suited to different styles of learning. Definitely. Definitely. I think, in answer to the same question, my perspective with my daughter, we forget so easily about COVID being only too present in our past, and that actually it really did affect all these children and online studies, academics, how they went back to school and social interactions. And actually, I think because they were so overjoyed to see friends and concentrate on what normal teenagers do, academics fell behind, especially with my daughter. So where she got to a certain stage with maths and passed her GCSEs with flying colours, when we moved to India, coming from London, we were 6 weeks late into the first term. Now that was huge because I wasn't sure whether it was what she hadn't learned in those 6 weeks, or maybe what continuing on an IB pathway would look like had she been doing IB through middle years program and then the diploma. So we've had a lot of heartache and stress, lots of tears, mostly my own as well, going through trying to find her outside help because, as you say, teachers, they're already pushed to the limit. Trying to get all of these kids to the correct level, the right level that they can succeed at. So my daughter's fallen behind, and actually, it's critical now in year 13. These first set of assessments have really shown that she does need the right outside help.
Right.
And after a struggle of 3 different tutors in India, one recommended but wasn't able, up for the job in my eyes, and the last one who was on a online platform where you pay a fee, so you automatically think that they're a respectable company, would have the screen off, would solve the problems for them. Both my son and my daughter were like, "Mum, like, you don't spend the money anymore after 5 sessions." So it was really disappointing until I found Sparkl and the online platform, and how refreshingly different their idea of how to encourage and embrace the child's strengths and weaknesses. she's only had a few lessons, and whereas, you know, when a child's confidence is decreasing because they feel they're no good at it anymore and they're falling behind, they never used to look forward to their maths lessons, and actually now my daughter is pumped when she comes out. I think one of the things, especially with Sparkl, is the whole notion that not everybody is the same.
Correct.
They've looked at her strengths and her weaknesses. Everything is tailor-made for the journey of where we need to increase, but let's recap everything. One size fits one as opposed to one size fits all. So she's actually understanding things and doing far more complicated questions than she would have been able to do in class. And so her confidence is great. And the other thing that I think is quite very unique is the Note Vision camera, which is filming real time while she's writing, so they can see if she's doodling. But that, you know, most importantly, the teacher feels like they're there in the room. So that's been a great experience of Sparkl. So, ladies, last question for today: what is it that you wish you knew now, if you were to start on the IB journey again? You think about that, because I think there's many.
It's so hard to put it in to give one perspective on this, because I think both my children, having done IB, and like she said, even both her daughters are totally different. Both my children are completely different. But I mean, at the risk of sounding absolutely boring, I really wish that I knew that time management was a crucial priority.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times that has happened. The need of external help has also risen, because if you do not get the basic concepts right to begin with in year 12, they catch up in year 13. It's a 2-year program, right? So, yeah, I mean, I would say, going back to the same word, time management, right? Like, I wish I knew I had a magic ball. I could just, you know, sparkle some dust fairy on my kids and like, you know, the time.
And it's actually probably the only area that we could help in.
Yeah.
Because
there's so little that you can help in.
It's beyond my
they don't
critical
want
thinking.
the help, you see.
Yes.
They don't want the help. They're pretty independent. So you do not want to undermine their learning necessarily. So you have to be very careful what external support you're getting them as well. Yes, if you're interested in getting the external help, because you do not want to undermine the confidence of your child in the subject that they've chosen.
Yeah.
Right. That has hopefully not been imposed on them. So, my
time management. Buzzword of the day. And what about you, Kirsty?
I think mine would tie into that, but it would just be that I wish I'd known the number of submissions that I had.
Right.
Because they'd come from IGCSE, where there weren't really that. I think out of the 9 subjects my kid had, other than art, which is obviously all based, but only had one that had an extra piece that needed submitted.
That's coursework.
Basically.
So they're completely unprepared in that sense.
Yeah, and I think maybe I very naively just thought they'd be carrying on and there'd be bits that they had to hand in or homework. But I don't think I had quite anticipated like the weighting of them. How big some of them would be, like the size of the EE, and it's a completely independent research. So these things that they are, ultimately it's a really good thing, because as I already said, it means you've already got a few points in the bag, right, before you go into your exams. But I just don't think I, as a parent, was prepared on realized that, and that they all come together as well. And it's a lot. And when you're going through this particular semester where all of those deadlines are due, and also you've got college deadlines,
submissions,
it's a busy time of year in India, because there's all the festivals
and predicted grades.
It's from the summer of year 13 or the final year of IB up till Christmas break. It's intense because those are weighty pieces of work that they have to submit. And I just don't think I had personally anticipated that that there was that much weight on them. So just be aware that it ties into the time management, because those pieces that you have to submit on time are actually really of importance. And the ones that you feel like they're not proper subjects, they're not. So the EE, the TOK, there's the exhibition, and there's the essay, and then the CAS, which the CAS is quite easy if you stay on top of it in year 12, I think. But not all kids do that, right? So
and you can't take your foot off the pedal at this time in the semester.
really
This is it now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then, I think with that intensity and that pressure and that, like you say, if there's a more help with time management, or a parent bringing their child onto this IB journey and listening to this, can perhaps get that, sort that strategy out, or where you start. Like, don't procrastinate on the journey. Once you start writing, to get those ideas down, at least, because also, their mental health suffers, and that whole worry, nothing's been written down. And for me, even just getting my daughter to write down on a piece of paper physically, it's almost out of the system. It's like, I've got it on a planner, Mum. I've got it on a planner. No, put it on the wall. Let's just write down. Let's break it up. Or post-it notes. What's more important? What you've got to get in this week? And then gradually take them off the wall. So I think, actually, there were great answers. Thank you. And thank you so much for coming in today and joining me on the deep dive journey. So to wrap it up, the IB can be intense, with multiple deadlines, demanding subjects, and a constant pressure on students and parents. And that's where the right guidance makes all the difference. At Sparkl, our one-on-one mentoring adapts to each child's pace and learning style, where trained teachers are dedicated to bringing out every student's truest potential. IB is a journey. It's tough but transformative. We're not here to replace schools, but to help students truly thrive, so they finish IB confident, capable, and future ready.